Well, hello again, everybody. Welcome to another episode of We Watch Shudder. My name is JD, and who's here with me?
It's Michelle.
It's Michelle, everybody. We're back again with more reviews for you. You probably know by now. I don't know. Maybe you're tuning in for the first time. Maybe you're not. We watch a lot of movies in our lives, and especially a lot of horror movies. And here on We Watch Shudder, we watch a lot of Shudder. We watch specifically exclusive and original new releases, and then we talk about them like our opinions matter. Isn't that right, Michelle?
That does sound correct. We like to think that we're important and people would want to hear from us, even though deep in our hearts, we know that's wrong.
And today is also big double feature day. We're actually going to split it up. It's going to be double feature over 2 days because JD is lame and had to get a new job and start playing a Dungeons and Dragons game. And yeah, but so there's 2 movies that came out today. One of them is called Speak No Evil. The other is called Flux Gourmet. Which one are we talking about today, Michelle?
We are talking about Flux Gourmet as our first of 2 dishes in our gourmet banquet double feature meal. That sounded like it was going to be a better metaphor when I started saying it,
right?
And then it did not get to that point.
So, yeah, Flux Gourmet, a couple of things I want to point out right away. First of all, this is definitely not one of those movies where they give away anything about what's going on with the promotional image on the website. It's a super weird one, and I actually really like the promotional image for this because it's super weird, and it's like, what the hell is going on here? And it's super cool. And also, the description is 2 lines long. I'm going to go ahead and read that to you here right away as long as I'm staring right at it. This is the movie we're talking about tonight. Flux Gourmet, a dysfunctional sonic collective that's a band devoted to the sounds of the culinary arts, navigates rivalries internal and external in this absurdly original feast for the senses. A Shudder exclusive. Michelle,
Yeah.
hit us with your spoiler-free thoughts on Peter Strickland's Flux Gourmet.
Okay, I will do just that. So this movie, as previous listeners to our podcast would know, I like to go into everything as blind as I possibly can. Basically, if I can go to the Shudder website and quickly click the image and hit play, that's all I want to know. I don't want to know what genre this falls into. I don't watch trailers if I can help it. I just really want to be as blind to this experience as I possibly can. That did not work out in my favor for the beginning of this movie, where I had to figure out, is this deliberately funny, or am I supposed to take these people seriously? Because they take themselves very seriously. And once I accepted, okay, this is supposed to be comedy, I am supposed to be laughing at them, then I had a much better time than I did at the beginning when I was trying to figure out if the pretentiousness was deliberate or for comedic effect. After that point, I did really enjoy it. So I will give it a 3.75.
3.75 skulls from Michelle on Flux Gourmet. Are you ready for my spoiler-free thoughts, Michelle?
Here's the thing. I feel like every episode is just one more round of Russian roulette, where eventually the bullet that gets fired will be the end of our friendship. So go ahead. What did you think of this movie?
Yeah, here's my spoiler-free thoughts. I also, much like you, went into this movie knowing as little as possible. And I literally just finished watching the movie maybe 20 minutes ago. I feel like I know exactly as much about this movie now as I did before I ever watched it. This is dumb as dicks. I don't even know what I just spent the last 2 hours of my life doing. I suppose there might be somebody out there that this movie is for. I don't know who that person will be.
It's me.
I don't have
that
a clue what this movie was even trying to be or trying to say, except that it was deliberately weird and bizarre, and that's not enough to keep me. This is the first movie we've watched on We Watch Shudder where I came desperately close to turning this movie off and sending you a message and just being like, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Wow. Okay.
There are a couple of very, very small redeeming things about this movie. So I can't give it like no love. I'm gonna go one skull on Flux Gourmet. Those are my spoiler-free thoughts.
Wow. Okay. So 1 star plus 3.75
One
or
skull.
1 skull, sorry. Divided by 2 means that this gets an average of 2.375 skulls, which
I'm
does
good at
seem to
math.
be on par with how Shudder is reacting to this movie.
Yeah, I've
People don't
got
really
the,
like it. Yeah.
I've got the page pulled up here, and they've as of right now looks like there's only 5 user reviews up here. One of them a full-blown 5 skull review. One of them's a 3 skull review. And then we got 3 1 skull reviews.
Yeah.
Very
I think,
polarizing film, Flux Gourmet.
I think we should probably go ahead and get into the spoiler section so we can talk
Yeah.
about some of the things going on in here.
Right. So
if you
guys,
have not seen this movie, you're going to want to pause.
but wait,
but
don't
then
do
come
it
back.
yet.
Yep. So, right? You have to come back after you pause.
Right.
Okay. This is just
That's the
a bit
gimmick.
we've been doing for months, and we have no idea if anybody likes it. Anyway,
Everybody hates it
please
except
pause,
us, and that's
come
all that
back.
matters.
We love it. We love this idea that no one is listening because probably. Anyway, please pause and then come back. Okay, hit pause now. Okay, you're back. Welcome back. First off, I have to say, since they just came back from their pause break, pause one more time just to go look at Asa Butterfield's IMDb profile picture, because every time I see him, I love Asa Butterfield. He can do no wrong in my eyes, but he has
Did
the
you
most
watch this
potential.
movie?
Yes, I love this movie.
He did a lot
yes,
wrong in this movie.
the most pretentious profile picture I've ever seen in my entire life, and I love it, and it always makes me just one iota happier that I have seen it yet again. So that adds to this movie a lot. I just love
Sure.
being reminded that his profile picture is that one. I love it. So
Right
on to this actual movie, but
So-
everybody needs to see that picture at least once.
Yeah, so I gotta be honest with you. I can sum up why this movie gets 1 skull from me. Look, you need to understand. My skull ratings are not intended to be a genuine evaluation of this film's quality. Think of them more of a reflection of how well this movie worked for me and how much I enjoyed it. And here's what I can tell you why this movie gets 1 skull. Everybody involved in making this movie did an incredible job. It's beautifully photographed. There's real interesting set design, and the performances are great, and the costuming is weird, and whoever was doing people's hair in this movie.
I love Gwendolyn Christie's bunny pajama ear setup. I love that so much.
Everybody was clearly just going for it, and I really admire all of the effort and all of everything involved here. But what it all comes down to for me is what the fuck was this movie even about? Like, what was the story here? Like, this is, and I get it, right? Like, the movie very clearly is rooted in absurdity. This is an absurdist film to the nth degree, but that's exactly why this doesn't work for me. Like, I could have handled this a lot more as like a 15-minute short. I would have been like, oh, okay, that's an interesting idea, but it just goes on and on and on, and I have no idea, like, I kept saying to myself, what are they trying to say here? And then I had to contend with, well, maybe they're not actually trying to say anything, and maybe it's just a weird... But at that point, if what you're going for is just a weird conglomeration of things, why even attempt any kind of narrative thread whatsoever at that point? I don't understand this movie at all. I guess that's what I would say. This movie and me just do not connect in any way. I don't get what I was supposed to enjoy about this. This is the definition of not for me.
Okay. Well, I disagree.
Yeah, clearly, and you,
yeah.
and, I mean, like I said,
I know.
mean,
I'm going to tell you my reasons why.
Right.
Don't worry.
Yeah, of course. Please do.
Yeah, so first off, I'm going to make a comparison that's going to upset you. But one of my favorite authors is Chuck Palahniuk, and this gave me supreme Chuck Palahniuk vibes.
Well,
just
guys,
the
it's
whole
been
monologue.
Nice knowing you on We
Exactly.
Watch Shudder, but I can't continue
I am
to
so
be
sorry. I told
associated
you.
with somebody who enjoys Flux Gourmet and then references Chuck Palahniuk. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
The whole farting guy's monologue to himself kept reminding me so much of like Guts or just some of his more absurd work where he takes it so seriously,
No,
but
you're
it's not a serious
absolutely
thing.
right
Yeah.
about that. Yeah, it's a very
Yeah.
apt comparison for sure.
Thank you. I was watching it and I felt like a genius for that comparison. So the farting man story is where I started going, oh, okay, so this is a comedy, thank God, because I was very worried that I was going to have to watch pretentious artist people. But then what wound up keeping me so involved is the story. I don't believe there's a message here. If there is a bigger message, it has been lost on basically everyone. I don't believe it exists. Prove me wrong if that is the case, but it does feel like it's a story starting out as these artists who take themselves very seriously, and then you slowly start realizing that they are very damaged individuals who should like not have these relationships between each other, watching the power struggle between Gwendolyn Christie and Ella, whatever the main lady's name is, and then the
did
struggle.
you not catch the gimmick with the names?
Which gimmick?
With
LDL or whatever her name is?
Yeah, the three members of the group.
Yeah, I have to go look it up again. It
Okay,
was
so Asa Butterfield's character's name is Billy Rubin.
Yes.
The other lady is I believe it's Amina Properia, and then the lead
Lamina,
lady
yep.
is LDL. Here's what
Okay.
you may or may not know. Bilirubin is a secretion produced by the liver during food digestion.
Yes, it
Lamina propria whatever is a mucosal connective tissue in the body. And LDL is LDL, low-density lipoprotein. That's bad cholesterol. They're all references to things in the body that are sort of tied in with digestion and that sort of thing.
Well, I love that. How did knowing that not improve your score? Billy Rubin, that's very funny.
Because to what end? To what end, right? Like what was accomplished here? Like what was I supposed to get out of 2 hours of this?
It's just the rise and fall of some weird artistic people, and you're just there to watch it happen. Poor Asa was abused horribly by this woman, and then like kind of grew to like love her so much, and then also love Gwendolyn Christie, but also leave because Gwendolyn Christie won't leave his goddamn catalog alone. Like you're just there for the ride. Also, Dr. Glock is an awful doctor. I hate him. He was momentarily Lord Voldemort in the very first Harry Potter movie, and I feel like he reprised that role in this film because he is so vile. I don't know. I think it's just a story that you're supposed to just be along for the ride. What was the name of like the rival artistic group that
oh god
just keeps like just I don't know. I think this is one that you just are there to watch. I do also have to say that I get very nervous when I see a horror movie, which horror movie is a little odd for this one. But when I see a horror movie that has food as like the focal point, I get very nervous because usually that goes to a very gross level that I don't want to be involved in. This kept it pretty surface level. There are some gross moments, but it did not take the turn that I am used to, and I'm very grateful that they did not go super, super, super gross because usually horror movies and food are like my least favorite thing. I was eating when I watched part of this movie and I regretted it, but not as much as I might have with other films. So
yeah, I just I wasn't even I couldn't even because as you said it's frankly barely a horror movie. There are definitely some repulsive things that happen along the way in this film. but a couple of things. First of all, they immediately just pull all the teeth out of the most repulsive thing that happens in the movie right after it happens. And I get why they do that.
Wait, which part do you think is the most repulsive?
The part where she's smearing shit all over herself.
Okay, I just need to make sure. I don't know.
And like they just immediately pull the teeth out of that one right away, making and like again, I get and don't get me wrong, I understand the plot here, right? I didn't have trouble following what was happening. I don't know what the point of it all was. And if the point was just to watch it happen, then that's just like definitionally not my kind of story at all. I would very much like to have these 2 hours of my life back. I even know what the point of Peter Greenway's The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover is. This movie made me think of that movie a lot. I don't know if you've ever seen that. That movie, though, is like this movie struck me as like somebody trying really hard to be Peter Greenway and not succeeding at being Peter Greenway. Side note, if you have never seen The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover, I strongly recommend you see that. It's definitely his most commercial and his most successful and well-known film. He's also got a couple others. There's one called A Zed and Two Knots. Anyway, this podcast is not about Peter Greenway. It's about how I just did not get or connect with Flux Gourmet in any way, and Michelle apparently did.
I did. I really like the idea of Gwendolyn Christie just being his Lady Demetrius, whatever the name of the big lady from.
Is it Demetrescu or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah, I've talked about her so much this month, and yet I still can't pronounce her name. This is just the month where I'm saying that name repeatedly and saying it wrong every time. But I really like her just being his big vampire lady.
And that's the thing also to me is like, don't get me wrong, I definitely agree with you that this was intended to be like an absurdist comedy bit. Mm-hmm. But even in that sense, like, I could see where I could see the jokes, right? I knew what they were doing and that was supposed to be funny. I just was never genuinely moved to laughter by it. Like, I feel like there were a lot of really good setups with absolutely no punchlines here. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. I laughed a lot. It
felt like there was so much that, like little things I did enjoy, especially with Gwendolyn Christie's character, Jan Stevens. Two things. I like that everybody always referred to her by both names, and they would sometimes say it just because she entered the room. They would just say her name out loud. I thought that was weird.
Opposite Beetlejuice.
Right.
She's already there, and then you say it.
Not just the weird pajamas with the crazy bunny head thing, but also the fact that she wore that thick red lipstick and thick black raccoon eyeshadow at night in bed, and it just looks so fiercely absurd. But again, you could take everything that I found value and interest in this movie, condense it into like a 10 to 15 minute short, and I would have gotten just as much out of it and not wasted an extra hour and 45 minutes of my life.
Well, I am sorry that this movie exists and that you had to watch it, but I giggled.
Again, I have to be very, very clear. Like this is if you like just crazy, madcap, absurd stuff that makes no sense at all.
I do.
And
it's
just
favorite.
Bizarre. You're gonna love this movie. Like, I'm not saying it's well made. It's beautifully shot and lit and creative. And everybody in it does a bang-up job. This just was not for me at all. I just thought it was... earlier I said the movie is dumb as hell. I don't know. Maybe I'm the one who's dumb as hell. Somewhere there's a gulf of intelligence between this movie and me in one direction or another. Let's put it that way. And you guys can decide which one of us is dumber, me or the movie.
I am concerned that you apparently knew a lot more about what was going on and yet still disliked it. And I caught none of them when, this is very fun. And did not care. So I'm what is wrong with my intelligence level that I knew nothing and liked it?
First of all, the only thing I knew is that their names happen to be references to things in the body. And here's the only reason I caught it. It never dawned on me when they introduced her as LDL because of the way they pronounce it. I just was like, some pretentious French nonsense. But there's a moment later in the movie where Elle specifically out loud says Billy's last name. It's the only time it ever appears. She calls him Billy Rubin. And Billy Rubin is a word where once you hear it, you're going to remember that word for the rest of your life. And it's a thing that they test when they test your liver enzymes and stuff. And it's just a terminology that I've known just by chance since I was 13 years old. And so she said Billy Rubin, and I was like, wait a minute. Billy Rubin, LDL. And then I had to look up lamina. I didn't know that one. I just looked it up, and it confirmed. So it's not like I knew something deep about the movie. I can't tell you what the point of that was. It's just a layer of detail is all.
Well, I also knew the word Billy Rubin, and I did not make the connection of Billy Rubin. I think because in my head, every time I saw him, I went, Asa Butterfield.
He did have a sweet emo haircut.
I know. That's just another moment where I started going
it's just
this is clearly a comedy.
Swoopinest emo swoop. He would be right at home at every stop on the My Chemical Romance reunion tour.
He's also very good at breaking up with people because he's like, well, we can ball at the orgies.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
See, it just made me laugh. I like this movie.
We can still fuck later, right?
Yeah. Leave my catalog alone. It cracked me up. Well,
it was just,
this is one more bullet in the chamber for the Russian roulette game.
just too far down the absurd rabbit hole for old JD here. Michelle on the other team, of course. So again, if crazy madcap absurdity is your jam, this one might be for you. I don't think we've managed to spoil anything because I don't know how you possibly could spoil anything with this movie. I could tell you everything that happens in the plot narrative, and it wouldn't spoil the movie at all. Yeah. So that's kind of our advice. You got anything else you want to say about the movie, Michelle?
About the movie specifically? No.
Well, what else do you want to say then about not specifically the movie?
We have less than 24 hours before our T-shirts stop being on sale for people.
Yeah, guys, we got those We Watch Shudder T-shirts available if you go to our Facebook or our other social media. I'm assuming it's on the Instagrams and all that. We've got a link to the order form. You tell us your details. You get us that payment. They're $25, and that's a flat, just covering the cost of everything. This is basically we're doing just as many as we need print run for this first time out. Not getting a whole bunch of extras to just keep around on stock. These are exclusively for the few people who might want them right now. So if you want to be in on that
I'm
first
one of them.
wave,
that's me.
Yeah, that's
I
us.
want in.
If you want to be in on that first wave, you get on that Facebooks and them other social medias. You let us know your details, and then get Michelle don't send me your money. Send your money to Michelle. If you send it to me, you'll never see it or the T-shirt ever again.
That's not very encouraging.
Well, and that's
embezzling money from our We Watch Shudder fund.
That's not because I am a bad person in any way. That's because I literally have an old school out in the woods witch curse on me that makes money vanish from my pockets. I don't know how it happens.
Well, for one, you're still carrying around cash, and nobody has cash anymore. So that's why it's disappearing from your pocket. You need to get an electronic bank account.
Oh, I have those too, and
checks.
Guess what? The money disappears that way too. It's like I have
you've got a really high tech witch.
It's like a money leech curse. Yeah, it's really anyway. So yeah, pay Michelle. Well, don't pay me. Mm-hmm. We're gonna get that order put in over the weekend. We expect the shirts to be printed and shipped and delivered in your hands just in time for October. And oh shit, Michelle, what are we doing in October?
Oh, I'm so excited for October. So October, we are doing Spooktober. And in Spooktober, we watch a horror movie every single day. And we've been doing this for years. And so we're doing it. We watch Shudder style, where we have been recording an episode every single day for October so that you can listen to us talk about your favorite Shudder originals and exclusives that existed before our podcast did. And then we can take that day that we did not have to record an episode and we can go watch a completely different horror movie and continue our tradition.
Yeah,
it's going to be great.
A new episode.
There's so much good stuff coming in October.
Yeah,
I'm
new
excited.
Episode every single day. Here's the thing, guys. As of right now, it's September 15th. We still got 5 of those Spooktober episodes we haven't even recorded yet. Which reminds me,
I gotta watch them
this
weekend.
We've been dipping into some of them previous episodes, going back and just trying to build up our listener base, promoting some of those previous episodes in new ways that we didn't have an opportunity to before. And that makes me want to say to you, when we get into those early episodes in Spooktober, please don't judge the sudden shift and reversion in quality of JD and Michelle's confidence in podcast hosting. Man, we have come a long way in 6 months of doing this, a long way on the positive side. I'm not going to say it was ever just a complete nightmare, but I'm definitely not going to be listening to every Spooktober episode. I hope you guys
will.
Do, but man, my heart won't be able to take it.
I have always had an absurd amount of unearned confidence, and yet somehow in those early episodes, it wasn't fully on display. I have always felt like everything I say is hilarious, and apparently back in April when we started, I did not feel as confident in my ability to either make people laugh or to be smart when it came to movies and discussing them.
It'll be a fun time capsule for all of us to go through while we're talking about horror movies every single day in October. Guys, check us out on all the social medias. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. It's just at We Watch Shudder wherever you're looking for us. If you're listening to us on like the Apple Pods or the Google Pods or wherever, leave us a like, a comment, hit the subscribe button if you can do that. I don't know. Whatever it is you can do that does good for us on social media, please do it. We'd appreciate it. Tell all your friends.
Yeah.
Anything else? Did we get it all?
No, I think we got it all.
All right, so you got this one today. We'll be back again right away tomorrow with our episode 4, Speak No Evil. Say good night, Michelle.
Good night, Michelle.